Leanne, what's going on?
So I'm a mom, working mom full time. 3 kids, but 2 are school aged. My 11-year-old son is having an especially difficult time.
Yeah.
We're not going back to school anytime soon. So my boy, normally happy-go-lucky kid, very creative, hilarious, but he's having a tough time. He's tried to run away a couple times. 2 times he's tried to run away, to get away from it all, is how he put it. And he's made mention of suicide. So my question is, when do I say, that's it, I need to seek the help of a professional?
The second you get off this phone call.
Okay.
This work from home, this school from home for kids is, this is going to be a generational trauma that we don't fully understand for years and years and years and years and years. It's devastating.
Yeah.
Kids are so hyper co-regulated. That's just nerd speak for their hearts beat and their eyes widen and their faces move based on the heartbeats and eye movement and face movements and body movements of other people in their area. It's how they interact with space. It's how they interact with themselves. It's how their brain regulates itself through other people. And this has been an absolute physiological and psychological nightmare for them. And you throw on top of that, mom, my safe space is being forced to have a dual role, right? And I don't know that side of mom. I don't know work mom. I don't know teacher mom. And you're being forced into roles that you didn't sign up for and that you're not equipped to do, right? But then you feel guilty because I'm mom. I'm supposed to be able to care for my son. And then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? It just turns into a mess. And I'm so sorry, Leanne. I hate that for you, and I hate that for your family. I hate that for every kid in the country. Anytime so a kid mentions suicide, it stopped the presses. We're seeing, I read an article recently, talked about it on the show, where a kid as young as 9 took his life in Las Vegas. And we're seeing suicide rates among children really ratchet up. They're just so lonely. And they're losing those safe spaces, which has been home. And they're losing those, what I call accidental community, where that teacher winks at you in the hallway or pats you on the shoulder. They're missing all that stuff, and their bodies are just, and their hearts and minds are going haywire. Tell me what it's like homeschooling your kid that you love, a little boy that you love.
Man, it's I'm barely hanging on myself, like literally by the skin of my teeth. And then you go to bed and got to do it again the next day.
So walk me through what a day is like.
So I get up. I try to get up at 5 a.m. so I get a little bit of undisturbed work time on my computer. I work at I'm at hospital administration, so it's crazy at work as well.
I was going to say, yeah, that's a barrel of roses this year too, right?
Right.
Oh,
right.
You're California too. Just
exactly
one barrel of monkeys after another.
Right. And I want to be a good team member, help my, the clinical folks that are really putting the work in as well. So get them up so he likes to get up early so he can also prepare for the day. And then we jump right on the computers, and I'm bouncing between my 2 kids and my work. And it's chaos.
Yeah.
And then the grind after they get off the computers to get the work done, because it's not just in class work. It's once they get off, you have this laundry list of assignments that have to get done by a certain hour,
so it's nonsense. The pedagogy there is garbage. Right. School administrators across the country, I'm calling you out. It's trash, dude. It's ridiculous. Because here's what's happening, and I'm not mad at you. I'm so frustrated with how some of these schools are handling this. They are getting these reports of learning decreases, and instead of doing what the science says, which is get these kids off these screens and let them go walk around the neighborhood and let them go play, let them go wrestle, they're doubling down on the other side. Well, after you get off, you got to do more problems and more math and more this. And we're embedding in these kids not only this just failure factory, this disaster factory, but we're also embedding in these kids a distaste for learning. And it's just a gross mess. I'm so sorry that you're pushing my buttons here. I'm half the country away from you. No, don't be sorry. It's, man. And so then your kids get done with their homework, and then what? You're back in it. Now you have to toggle back to mom, and after a frustrating, exhausting day. Yeah.
So I turn to shuttle mom because I'm trying to keep them active. Thank God my daughter's doing gymnastics. I have him in an exercise class because I just need them to move their bodies and be out of the house.
Good for you.
And, when he first tried to run away, I called it. I said, screw it. I called his buddy's mom. I said, can Chris play? Because I need to get my kid out of the house. We're going to risk our physical health for his mental health.
Yeah.
So he has some buddies in the neighborhood that he'll ride bikes with, etc.
Hey, that is mom of the year right now. Good for you. Good for you. Good for you. And I know that's a risk. I'm going to get my show canceled, all that stuff. I don't care.
No, I
Good for you.
feel like there's a lot of parents that are just you got to draw the line somewhere. I mean, the kids are going crazy.
Yeah. So, I won't divulge too much. My wife and I are still negotiating, not really negotiating. We're still working through which parts of my family life I disclose for all these people on the show and which parts that I keep to myself. What I will tell you is I have heard the heartbreak firsthand that you just expressed, okay? And here's what I want to, we haven't experienced the mental health challenges and the suicide challenges, but I've got a memory in my heart that will be there forever with an encounter of my son and weeping in a way that I've never seen him weep before. And just saying, Dad, when is this going to stop? And listening to him and my wife and my daughter negotiate homeschooling and work from home and all those things. So here's what I want to give you permission to do. At some point, your ROI on your work world begins to diminish because home world is hard, right? And not only hard, but it's taking your core out from under you, right? The core of who you are, which is an extraordinary mom. Are you married? You got somebody else there helping out, or is it just you?
Okay. My husband, he has to go in, so he's home till about 10 o'clock, and then we don't see him again for the rest of the night.
Okay. So that might even be a good thing there. Your kids, I want to see them have more direct. We'll get to school when we get to school. Dad and the kids are going for a walk. Dad and the kids are setting up a WWE wrestling tournament in the living room, and we're just going for it for a while. We will get to the classroom assignments when we get to them. And at some point, you guys have to double down on that parent connection and even saying, I'm going to be homeschool mom for this period of time. And I'm going to I want you to call me by another name because I want to have a moment when I can be your mommy. And right now I'm going to be your teacher. So call me Miss Joe, whatever, dude. But here's what I'm trying to do. Set up some boundaries between those roles because it's really confusing for a kid. Yeah. And you as a hospital administrator, you are used to toggling so fast between all these different things all the time, right? And an 11-year-old just sees mom and sees mom working at a pace and saying things to her clients and to her coworkers like, whoa, I didn't know she talked like that. I didn't know she knew what a TPS report is and all that stuff, right? His mind's getting blown and his picture of mom is morphing in front of him in a way that his little 11-year-old brain can't comprehend right now. And you throw on that how frustrated you are when he's like, I don't get the word problem. And you're like, do the word problem, right? All of that. And so set up some boundaries like that, and they can be silly and fun. Like when I put on the big yellow crown that him and your other kid can cut and paste and make a hat for you, for teacher hat, whatever. But we're going to set up some fun, silly things that are going to let them have some boundaries between the roles. And then I can't believe I'm saying these things. I said it in a speech the other day. Like, get in front of the TV and just hold your kids, right? Yeah. Like, just turn the stupid screens on. I hate screens. I'm overly loud about how much I hate them. But at some point, you just got to hold your kids, right? And sit down and color with them. It's worth, that's going to heal your heart. It's going to help heal their heart. Whatever that looks like, We played Zoom Pictionary a couple of nights ago with with their grandparents, my parents. And I got to say this, shout out to my 70-year-old mom who had to act out quicksand via Zoom on a webcam. It did not end pretty, and it was awesome, though. She went all in. And then my dad, who's 70, he had got sumo wrestling as one of the charade cards. And that image will never, it burned a hole in my rods and cones in my eyes, like in my retina. So all I have to say is figure out what those weird, crazy, fun things you can do and double down on them. But let your kids know that you love and cherish them. And at this point, after a year of being home, man, loving and cherishing, letting those kids know they've got value and letting those kids know that they are still tethered into you is more important than whatever they're going to pick up in social studies or math class. At this point across the country, it's so uneven. It's so wonky. Some schools have never shut down. Some schools have not gone back. It's just going to be such unequal mess that I'm way more concerned about the connection and the love and the peace in these kids' hearts. All the way back to your original question, an 11-year-old runs away because he's frustrated. Man, I'm not going to, not every alarm's going to go off there. I'm going to talk to my kid. I'm going to make sure he knows he's loved. I'm going to go for a walk with him, those kind of things. I'm going to let him ride bikes in the neighborhood with his kids. My kid says, I'm thinking about not being here. Everything in my world stops. Work can wait till later. Friendships can wait till later. All that stops. I'm calling a professional right now. And I'm going to do my best to get an in-person meeting with that person, because just going on another Zoom call for your poor kid, hopefully that they would let you do that. I don't know what the rules are there. I know they are having some in-person allowances here in Tennessee here. We'll be thinking about you, and man, you're doing the right thing. Set up those boundaries, set up those moments of high touch, high physical contact, let them cook dinner, those things where they get to contribute and be a part of the family household, where they get to see you being silly, where they get to have work with mom for a minute, whatever those things are, let them feel a part of the home, they've got value, and let them ride bikes with their friends, man. And geez Louise, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, Leanne. I wish I could wrap this up and make it so great, too. The second call in a row that I want to just put a bow on this one, and it's hard because we're right in the middle of a massive trauma. School administrators, I know I'm being a jerk here, man, because I know you, too. I've got close friends all over the country, school administrators. Pedagogically speaking, you know this. 8 hours for a 10-year-old in front of a screen, followed by 3 more hours in front of a screen, is not learning. Stop. Come up with something else. And I know you got to get your test scores. I know there's funding on top of those. I know all those things. Figure it out. There's too much science out there. There's too much. And I also want to be safe. I'm not saying everyone should go back to schools. Y'all figure that out locally. I'm not getting in the middle of that mess. But I'm telling you, pedagogically speaking, you know that these kids cut off at a certain point. Stop piling it on. Stop piling it on these 11-year-olds, these 9-year-olds, these 14-year-olds, these 17-year-olds. Man, let's let them remember this moment not as the make or break moment when I started hating learning. Let's give them project-based learning. I'm not going to get into that, dude. I'm going to make myself crazy.